Focus now on viewers because the battleground Jammu and Kashmir has intensified and Congress and NC continues to back for talks with Pakistan. After Amit Shah sends out a stern warning, we have the NC camp coming out and demanding for talks with Pakistan because Farooq Abdullah has said that if you can hold talks with China over the LAC, then why not with Pakistan? This is what Farooq Abdullah has said. First, let's listen in to his reaction.
देखिए पाकिस्तान क्या करता है, ये क्या करते हैं। चीन से ये बात कर सकते हैं जो हमारे 2000 किलोमीटर जमीन पे काबिज है और आगे चल रहा है। उनसे बात कर सकते हैं 20 दफा। यहाँ क्यों नहीं बात कर सकते? क्या वजह? इसी तरीके से तो इसका हल निकालना है। कब तक हम आतंकवाद में रहेंगे? कब तक हमारे लोग मरते जाएंगे?
Well, Gursimran is joining me live from Jammu and Kashmir. Gursimran, a very good evening to you. This is on expected lines. Again, Farooq Abdullah batting for talks with Pakistan despite the recent terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, and that too amid elections.
See, Deepak, it is very clear that the Omar Abdullah and the Farooq Abdullah, they both are trying to toe the same line because what they want to do is they want to consolidate the vote in the Kashmir Valley. But they have forgot that much water has flown in the Chenab, and now it is almost impossible that they will be getting the votes by getting soft towards the Pakistan. The Union government has made it amply clear time and again that terror and talks cannot go together. In the China's front, it has been diplomacy that has tackled the situation. When it comes to the Pakistan, it is the Pakistan that is resorting to the cross-border terrorism. Every single day that we speak, even as we speak today, there has been an attempt by the Pakistan to push a haul of consignment of weapons into the Indian territory. These weapons were to be used to target the civilians. These weapons were of the mass destruction, but that has been foiled by the forces. But the Abdullahs continue to bat for talk with Pakistan.
Right, Gursimran, stay on with us because we have Nalin Kohli also joining us on the phone lines. Good evening, Mr. Kohli. Today we've seen once again, Farooq Abdullah, they're batting for talks. And this is exactly what the Prime Minister had warned when he was leading the BJP's campaign in Jammu and Kashmir.
So one has to see what has been Pakistan's game plan for the last several decades. When they found that they could not succeed from 1948 to the wars in the 60s and finally the 71 war, that they cannot militarily match India and the Indian army, the leadership, then they decided to go on what was called the 1,000 bricks approach, that we will bleed the enemy, and therefore terrorism became a frontline, frontal mechanism for them to deal with India, which is basically what they call non-state actors, setting up these terror network, and that terror network coming into India and causing havoc in the state of Jammu and Kashmir and terror blasts across the country. Over the past few decades, and particularly the last 1 decade, there's been a lot of effort to dismantle that terror network within the country, which was mostly coming from Pak-sponsored terrorist organizations. We had the incident of Palkot. Where Palkot, we actually had a strike into enemy territory. We had surgical strikes. All of this has happened under Prime Minister Modi. Now we are in a situation where Pakistan suddenly opens the tap, if I may call it, of terror or terrorism, and then says, talk to us. And India's stand is consistent that we will talk when you don't launch terror attacks on us, because terror and talks cannot go together. In this entire situation, what is interesting to note is that Farooq Abdullah ji, who's a very senior leader, he's the chief minister, he keeps coming up regularly with a statement, talk to Pakistan. He knows the stand of the government of India. He knows that Pakistan has been launching terror organization, terrorists into Indian territory and particularly wreaking havoc in Jammu and Kashmir. Currently also, there's an attempt to somehow destabilize it, but our security forces are acting very, very firmly against them. So when he says that, please talk to Pakistan, the question that has to be answered, is he their ambassador? Is he constantly wanting to see that Pakistan's interests are to be seen? How is it meeting India's interests? He never explains that. He only says that because there is terrorism and we have to stop it, so we should talk. And the counter answer to that is when there were talks, did terrorism stop? It never did. So Farooq Abdullah ji, when he brings it up, he opens himself to attack that whether he is in a way going soft on Pakistan, even though Indian blood is being lost. So I think this is all of it that Farooq Abdullah ji and his party will have to answer.
Also, Mr. Nalin Kohli, the manifesto clearly hints at another larger picture at play in Jammu and Kashmir, because the Congress and NC alliance are mulling to push back Jammu and Kashmir, which has seen a lot of development in the last few years, back into those dark days where separatists were given a free run by, there was a lot of incidents of stone pelting and everything. But now if you see on ground zero, there is a lot of change. The art and literature has returned to the valley, and tourism has also been boosted. But here in their manifesto, we see a regressive promise.
So they are living in the past. The Congress party always goes back to the Nehru-Gandhi family. The Farooq Abdullah, Omar Abdullah National Conference always goes back to a Kashmir that does not exist today. This was today an integrated, completely one unified Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh. The fact of the matter is Article 370, which was brought in the name of special status, actually became a tool of separatism, of separatist ideology. And it was a false narrative that was built over decades that the accession of Jammu and Kashmir into the Union of India, or into the Union, that is India, was on the basis of Article 370, which was a lie, which was incorrect, completely devoid of any truth. Article 370 had nothing to do with the accession instrument, which was final. Jammu Kashmir stood completely and integrated with India in 1948, when the instrument of accession was signed by then Maharaja Hari Singh. So therefore, there is no narrative, that narrative of Article 370 being the link to the accession was a false narrative, and that stands exposed. So when the National Conference of the Congress Party talks of a back to Article 370, the first question that has to be asked, that do they want separatism? Do they support separatism? Do they support separatism that led to militancy, that led to terrorism? So what is this whole promise about? For the sake of winning votes, will the country's security, will the lives of people in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, will they be put to stake? So these are serious questions that they will have to answer before they make a demand. Let's go back to the pre-370 days.
All right, Mr. Nalin Kohli, many thanks for joining us with your insights. Well, viewers, this is the same alliance that stands confused, because a few days back, before the Jammu and Kashmir elections began, Omar Abdullah was questioned about what the Congress believes about its manifesto, and Omar Abdullah clearly said that Congress is in support and it endorses what the NC manifesto says. But yesterday, when Republic TV questioned Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress chief, he had no answers. He was only deflecting. And amidst all of this, viewers, the Union Home Minister and also the Defence Minister have issued a stern warning to Pakistan sympathizers, saying that terror and talks don't go hand in hand. Listen in.
हम जब तक आतंकवाद समाप्त नहीं होता है, पाकिस्तान से वार्ता करने के पक्ष में नहीं है। अगर बात करनी है तो मेरे नौसेना के शेरों के साथ बात करेंगे, पाकिस्तान के साथ क्यों करेंगे? एलओसी का ट्रेड शुरू करना चाहते हैं, ये आतंकवादियों को फिर से जेलों से मुक्त करना चाहते हैं। भाइयों बहनों, पत्थरबाज जेलों में है, आतंकवादी जेलों में है, और एक फारूक अब्दुल्ला यहां आकर पीर पंजाल की इसी ओर जम्मू की पहाड़ियों में, राजौरी, पुंछ, डोडा में कहते हैं कि यहां आतंकवाद फैल जाएगा। मैं आपको बताता हूं नौसेना वालों, फारूक साहब की जो इच्छा है वो छोड़ दो। नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार है, आतंकवाद को पाताल जितना गहरा दफनाने का काम ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी करेगी।
मैं तो कहता हूं, क्यों हिंदू मुस्लिम में बांटते हो भारत को? केवल सत्ता हासिल करने के लिए? अरे मैं तो कहता हूं, पीओके भी जिसे आज कहते हैं, वह भी हमारा भाई है। हम उसे अपने परिवार में शामिल करना चाहते हैं, हम तो उसको भी चाहते हैं। कुछ लोग कहते हैं पाकिस्तान से बात करो, बहनों भाइयों, हम लोगों का एक प्रिंसिपल है, सिद्धांत है, और आप जानते हैं यदि शकून से रहना है, पड़ोसी के साथ, अपने पड़ोसी के साथ रिश्ते अच्छे बना के रखने चाहिए। हम भी जितनी भी हमारी पड़ोसी नेबरिंग कंट्रीज हैं, सबके साथ हम रिलेशंस अच्छे बना के रखना चाहते हैं। पाकिस्तान के साथ भी रखना चाहते हैं, सबके साथ रखना चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो टेररिज्म को बढ़ावा देते रहें और हम उनके साथ अच्छे रिलेशंस बनाते रहें, यह कैसे होगा? दोनों काम नहीं हो सकता। वो गारंटी दें इस बात की कि हम टेररिज्म भारत की धरती पर किसी भी सूरत में होने नहीं देंगे, हम उन्हें गले से लगाने के लिए तैयार हैं, उनके साथ हम बातचीत करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
Now it's time for us to take a look at the other top stories that we're tracking